What 3 words would you use to describe an outstanding educator? So think about that for a minute. There are lots of words you could use, aren't there? Lots of words related to teaching, related to learning, to instruction, to accountability, to policies, to well-being, lots of things. But 15 years ago when I was asked this question, these were the 3 that I came up with. One of the most important things to me, especially at the time, was authenticity, being true to oneself, making sure that how I behaved, that when I was up in front of the students or when I was working with students, that I was always being myself and not being influenced by others who had a different vision of education. Integrity to me is also important. Your word means everything as an educator, as a human being, right? Make sure that what you say and what you stand for speaks for itself. And then the final one that I came up with was responsibility. Because I feel as educators and just as a person that I have a tremendous responsibility to the students with whom I work, to give them the best I can as a teacher, to my colleagues, to be the best supportive and constructive colleague I can be, to my administrators, to make sure that I'm dutifully taking all the responsibilities that I'm expected to take. It's critical that all of us reflect on what are the most powerful ideas, the most powerful concepts, the most powerful words that guide us as teachers, as administrators, as human beings, as community members. And it is a powerful exercise to force yourself to say, these are the 3 most important ones to me. Now, there are other important questions to ask along those lines. And there are key questions that help us reflect on and improve our practice. Perhaps a couple of more important questions are, what 3 words would your students use to describe an outstanding educator? Have you ever asked your students that question? It can be really eye-opening. You'd be surprised some of the answers you get. How many people say that what they want is someone who will listen to them, who will honor them, who will give them feedback, who will care for them. The answers you get to this question, I guarantee you, will challenge some of your assumptions about your students and about your teaching. And I encourage all of you to go through this activity. One of the best exercises I did with a school one time was to have all the teachers ask this of their students, get all the responses, and then in a group meeting, all the teachers shared the responses and talked about how it made them feel, what it made them think, and about really what kinds of messages they were giving students and what kind of teachers they were to the students beyond what they assumed that they were. It's important to think about what words you might agree on with your students and with your colleagues and what ways you can connect. But many schools have a vision, they have a mission. Are the words that you would put to describe outstanding teachers in that vision and mission? Think about it. Likewise, 3 more critical words are thinking about what words will most improve schools and classrooms and the organizations in which we work. So when we think about it this way, we start thinking, do we have open systems? Do we have schools that encourage creativity, that encourage a climate of critique? Meaning where it's safe and it's comfortable for someone to say, hey, Jeff, I watched the way you were teaching this. I noticed that you really, this is one of the things I do. I've been doing it today too. So you tend to lean and face toward the left side of the room more than the right side of the room. Okay? Those simple kinds of things can help open your eyes to a new type of teaching, a new type of communication, and have a different kind of organization than the one you have. Is your organization creative? Are there spaces for you to have good conversations? Do you help your colleagues? Do they help you? These are all things to think about. So I want to leave you with a few of the lessons that have occurred to me over these last 15 years. The first of these is that teaching is one of the most noble professions out there. We shape the present and the future of our communities, our students, our colleagues, and the world. What greater responsibility, what greater opportunity. We shape this enormous task, though, it's important to remember, by small, day-to-day interactions that we have with the people we come into contact with. It's important to constantly reflect on the types of things that we do, say, and think about in schools. We have to think deeply about what's important, about distilling our practice down to those 3 words that define outstanding education, outstanding learning, and outstanding schools. Because that's going to help us focus on the things that are most important and help guide us when we have to make the difficult and complicated decisions that we make every day in schools. Thank you very much for listening, everyone.